All right, so what's up, guys? So we're out here on another run, out here doing this craziness for all of you to simply sit back, watch, and enjoy. And you know, for you, one big topic that you're probably concerned about, and I am definitely so, is money, the old moolah, and you know how to make as much of it as possible, right? And be abundant. So, you know, for you, don't worry, because we're gonna give you 4 money tips that nobody tells you about, nobody talks about. So, without further ado, we will go into tip number 1. That is to have the entrepreneurial mindset, right? Entrepreneurial versus employee. And you know, there's a huge difference between the two, right? You got the entrepreneur, you got someone, you know, that's busting their tail off, working for their own business, trying to start something brand new. And you know, they're taking a bunch of different risks, right? There's oftentimes a lot of days where they don't know where their money's coming from, how much it is exactly, but you know, they keep grinding, they keep working and working and working. And you know, for them, that's good. That's what they want to do because they have that mindset. Now, on the other hand, we have people with the employee mindset, right? They're satisfied with working for somebody, right? Working a set number of hours per day for, you know, somebody, another person. And no, while that's fine and dandy, that's okay, right? That's considerably safe, right? Because you signed a contract to join that job and you pretty much are secure, right? As long as you show up and do the work. And you know, for many, that can provide, you know, a significant amount of money, a good paycheck in essence. But you know, for many that want to simply excel, right? They want to make a lot, they want to have abundance of wealth. And you know, arguably that's hard to do when the amount of money you're making a year is capped, right? It's limited to the salary. So you know, for you, how to get around that, how do you exceed that? And that is, you know, becoming an entrepreneur per se, right? You don't necessarily have to be one, but you have to be able to think outside the confines of your work setting. I think outside the box. And you know, that is especially true when you think about money outside of work and ways to make it, right? And you know, this goes, you know, beyond, you know, you don't necessarily have to start your own business, right, to expand beyond your workplace, but you can do little side hustles, right? You can work Uber, you can deliver food, you can do all kinds of different things to raise your level of income outside of your standard traditional job. And you know, from that, you're going to be able to make more and have more money simply. And lots of times people, employers especially, don't want you to know that. They want you to consistently just go to work. Don't question what they're telling you. And you know, while that may work for them, right, and having you get the job done and you becoming a dependable employee, they may not be the best result for you if that's what you want, right? If you have, you know, the goal of making a tremendous amount of money, right, that exceeds your salary. So, you know, for you, we will now go into money tip number 2 that people do not talk to you about. And that is to invest, right? But you know, not necessarily to invest in huge things, right? You don't have to buy an entire football team to invest, but you can invest in smaller things, right? And you don't have to necessarily buy a house to become a real estate investor. You can buy a real estate investment trust, Or you can crowdfund with other people and put a little bit amount of money towards a big project and divide it up. So, there's many different ways for you to invest, right? You don't have to have a lot of money to do so. You can start off with a little and grow it and simply just rake in more. And from that, you'll be able to invest large amounts of money, right? Go beyond that myth of you gotta have money to make money. Yes, you do, in essence, but not a lot. Not what this saying implies. Right? You don't have to be a mega millionaire to start investing and growing your business and your wealth. So, for you, another tip, and we had just mentioned it, right, about starting, I think it was starting small, right, with your money. Because oftentimes, people think that they have to have a lot of money, to become rich and successful. But what you don't realize is tip number 3, and that is to use the power of compound interest. Because when we go out and do work, right, you can be making 100 grand a year, 200 grand a year. You are only gonna make that amount of money unless someone gives you a raise. But through the power of compound interest, you're able to give yourself a raise. And from your raises, you're able to get even bigger ones. So it's almost like a snowball effect, right? You start off with a $100,000 investment, it turns into $110,000, right? Because you made $10,000. So now you invest $110,000. So guess what? 10% on that is higher. So when you make that 10% that you were making, in the years before, it's gonna be higher this time around. It's not just gonna be 10,000, it's gonna be 11. It's gonna be an extra grand for you, pretty much free of charge. So learn from that, right? Take that into account, because that after you get that extra 11,000 too, you're investing 121. So you get the gist. So if you take a lot of instances of times where you made money, put it in and invest it, right? Don't waste your money on unnecessary stuff that you don't need, right? Don't rack up credit card debt and car payments that you ultimately can't pay for. So we have someone that doesn't see us, but in the end, it's your choice, right? You make the decisions for yourself, and from that, you will be able to grow your pot of money. So let's see. So we got a lot of people out here waiting in line, and we will distract ourselves and pass them like a speeding bullet. But for you, we will continue the video. I'm gonna give you well tip number 4 that people don't want to tell you, and that is that you don't need a college degree to get rich, right? You don't have to go to Harvard or a prestigious Ivy League school to become super rich and successful, right? You don't even need a college degree. You don't need a high school diploma. Now, it may be harder, right? You may find less resources at your disposal, but what you can argue is, the amount of time that you spent getting that education and getting that degree could be used towards other more productive manners. And yes, that's true, because you better not be spending that time sitting around and doing nothing. And if you're gonna drop out of college, go and put in the work, right? You gotta beat the amount of work that it requires to finish that college education with your own. And regardless, you gotta teach yourself one way or another, because it requires a certain degree of smarts and intellect and experience to become successful with money. So whether you like it or not, you're gonna be educated, whether that's through your own personal choice, right? You decide to read books, go to classes, and learn, or harsh lessons, right? Those hard failures. And while they may feel bad, and you may want to avoid them, they may cost you a lot of money, but they teach you. So, you know, regardless of what you decide to do, you are gonna have to learn and become an expert, right? Someone knowledgeable in the field. And in this case, it's money. So, you know, for you, we hope that you enjoyed these 4 money tips that people do not tell you. And, you know, say thank you and goodbye.